Now read this.
Hello, welcome back to Now Read This, the Castle of Llyr, Chapter 17, The Spells of Caer Llyr. Taran's heart froze, and within him echoed the nightmare memory of another day when he had stood in terror before Acron. As if he was still the same frightened lad he had been, he trembled once again at the sight of the black-robed queen. Her hair, unbound, fell in glittering silver tresses to her shoulders. The beauty of her features had not changed, though her face was deathly pale. At Spiral Castle, long ago, she had been decked in jewels. Now neither rings nor bracelets adorned her slender hands and white arms, but her eyes, hard as jewels themselves, drew Taran's gaze and held it. Gwydion had sprung forward. With a cry, Taran followed him, sword upraised. Eilonwy shrank back and clung to Acron. "Put down your weapons," Acron commanded. "The girl's life is bound to mine. Would you take my life? Then she must share my death." Seeing the black sword, Acron had stiffened, but made no move to flee. Instead, her lips curled in the shadow of a smile. Gwydion halted and looked searchingly at her. Slowly, his face dark with anger, he returned Durnwyn to its sheath. "Obey her," he murmured to Taran. "I fear Acron speaks the truth. Even in death, she may be deadly." "You show wisdom, Lord Gwydion," Acron said softly. "You have not forgotten me, nor have I forgotten you. I see, too, the assistant pigkeeper and the foolish bard who should have been food for carrion crows long before this. The others, perhaps, know me not as well as you do, but soon they shall." "Unloose the Princess Eilonwy from your spell," said Gwydion. "Return her to us, and you shall depart unhindered." "Lord Gwydion is generous," Acron replied with a mocking smile. "You offer me safety when your own peril is greatest. You were rash even to set foot on Caer Llyr, and now the more hopeless your plight, the bolder your words." Her glance lingered on him. "Pity that one such as you scorned to be my consort and rule with me when the chance was given you." "Unloose the girl," Acron went on. "No, Lord Gwydion, she will serve me as I planned. My spells are not the only ones to bind her. You know her ancestry and the blood of enchantresses that flows in her veins. Caer Llyr itself has long awaited its princess. It calls to her, and so it ever shall, while one stone stands upon the other. This is her birthright. I do no more than help her claim it." "You force her to claim it," Taran burst out. "Eilonwy did not come willingly to Caer Llyr. She does not stay willingly." His desperation drowned his caution, and he could not keep himself from starting toward Eilonwy, who watched him curiously. Gwydion's hand on his shoulder drew him back. "Is she indeed unwilling?" Acron raised her arm and gestured to the alcove, where stood an ancient chest, tall as Eilonwy herself. "I have shown her what this contains," Acron said. "All the implements of magic treasured up for her. Power such as she has never known lies just within her grasp. Do you ask her to cast it away? Let her give you her own answer." At Acron's words, Eilonwy raised her head. Her lips parted, but she did not speak. Hesitating, she toyed with a silver chain around her neck. "Hear me, princess," Acron said quickly, in a low voice. "They would deprive you of your heritage, of the enchantments that are yours by blood right." "I am Princess of Llyr," Eilonwy said coldly. "I want what is mine. Who are these who would take it from me? I see the one who frightened me in my chambers, a keeper of pigs, so he claimed. The rest I do not know." Gurgi's heart-rending wail filled the great hall. "Yes, yes, you know us. Oh, yes, do not speak hurtful words to sad companions. You cannot forget. This is Gurgi, humble, faithful Gurgi. He waits to serve wise princes as he always did." Taran turned his face away. The grief of the wretched creature pained him more even than his own. Akron, watching Eilonwy carefully, nodded with satisfaction. "And their fate," Akron said to her. "What shall be the fate of those who seek to despoil the inheritance of the princess?" Eilonwy frowned. Her eyes strayed over their companions. As though perplexed and reluctant, she turned to Akron. They shall be punished." "She speaks with your voice," Terran shouted in anger. "With your words. In her heart she does not wish us ill." "Think you so?" replied Akron, taking Eilonwy's arm and pointing to Mag, prostrate on the flagstones and firmly in the grasp of the bard. "Princess, one of your loyal servants is still captive of these intruders. Cause him to be released." Fflewddur, sitting astride Mag's shoulders, took a tighter grip on the scruff of the chief steward's neck. Mag spat and cursed, while the bard shook him furiously. "Your trained spider is my prisoner," Fflewddur cried. "He and I have business together, long unsettled. Do you want him back unsquashed? Then let the Princess Eilonwy come with us." "I have no need to bargain," Akron answered. She made a curt gesture to Eilonwy. The girl's face, Terran saw, had taken on a harsh and severe expression. She lifted her arm, hand outstretched and fingers pointing. "Which shall it be?" mused Akron. "The ill-favoured creature who dared call himself your servant?" Gurgi raised his head, puzzled and fearful, while Akron whispered words in a strange language to Eilonwy. The girl's fingers moved slightly. Gurgi's eyes widened in surprise and disbelief. For an instant he stood unmoving and open-mouthed, staring at the princess. Her hand, pointing straight at the baffled Gurgi, suddenly tensed. With a sharp cry of pain, Gurgi stiffened and clutched his head. Akron's eyes glittered with pleasure. Again she whispered urgently to Eilonwy. Gurgi shrieked. He spun frantically, his arms flailing, as though to ward off unseen tormentors. Screaming, he flung himself to the ground, doubled up, and rolled back and forth. Terran and Gwydion raced to his side, but the tortured creature, like a wounded animal, struck at them and thrashed blindly in agony. Fflewddur leapt to his feet. "No more!" he shouted. "Harm Gurgi no longer. You shall have Mag. Take him." At Akron's command, Eilonwy dropped her hand to her side. Gurgi lay gasping on the stones. His body shook with sobbing. He raised his shaggy, dishevelled head, and Terran saw his face, streaming with tears that came not only from the suffering he had just undergone. Painfully, the exhausted creature drew himself up to crouch on hands and knees. Gurgi crept forward a little way. His weeping eyes turned to Eilonwy. "Wise princess," he murmured, "it is no wish of hers to fill poor tender head with harmful hurtings. Gurgi knows this. He forgives her." Mag, meantime, finding himself free of the bard's grasp, lost no time in scrambling to his feet and scuttling to the side of Akron. His encounter with Fflewddur had left the chief steward much the worse for wear. His handsome garments showed rips and rents, his lank hair fell damply over his forehead, his chain of office was bent and battered. Nevertheless, once near Akron, Mag folded his arms and haughtily drew back his head. Rage and hatred filled his eyes, and Terran was certain that had Akron given him the power, Mag's glance alone would have sufficed to send Fflewddur rolling in torments sharper than Gurgi's. "You shall pay deadly for this, harper," Mag spat. "I rejoice that I did not have you thrashed and driven away when I first laid eyes on you, for now it allows me to hang you by your own harp-strings from the highest tower of Lugdum's castle, and so shall I do once I am Lord of Dinas Rhydant." "Lord of Dinas Rhydant!" Fflewddur exclaimed. "A steward's chain is too much honour for you." "Tremble, harper," sneered Mag. "Dinas Rhydant is mine. It has been promised me, and all the realm. King Mag, Mag the Magnificent." "King Mag the Maggot?" the bard flung back at him. "Does Akron promise you a kingdom? A scullery would be more than you deserve." "Akron's promises are false," cried Terran. "Learn this to your grief, Mag." The black-robed queen smiled. Akron knows how to reward those who serve her, as she knows how to punish those who defy her. Mag's kingdom shall stand among the mightiest in the land, and Llyr shall rise more glorious than ever. Its great hall shall be the seat of power over all Prydain. The Lord of Anuvin himself shall kneel in homage to me. Akron's voice fell nearly to a whisper. A cold fire burned over her pale features. Her eyes were no longer on the companions, but far beyond them. Aron of Anuvin shall cower and beg for mercy, but his throne shall be toppled. It was I, Akron, who showed him the sacred ways to power. He betrayed me, and now he shall suffer my vengeance. It was I who ruled Prydain before him, and none dared question my dominion. Thus shall it be once more, thus shall it be evermore. The Lord tells of your ancient rule, Gwydion said sharply, and how you sought to keep hearts and minds in thrall to you. You tormented those who would not worship you, and for those who bowed to you, life was little better than a slow death. I know, too, of the blood sacrifices you demanded, and your joy at the cries of your victims. No, Akron, it shall not come again. Think you this girl shall lead you to it? She will obey me, Akron replied, as surely as if I held her beating heart in my hand. Gwydion's eyes flashed. Your words are vain, Akron. They cannot deceive me. Do you seek to rule through the Princess Eilonwy? The enchantments she commands still sleep. You have not the means to waken them. Akron's face turned livid, then she drew back as though she had been struck. You speak beyond your knowledge. Oh, no, he doesn't, burst out Rune, who had been listening in amazement. The Prince of Mona triumphantly faced Akron. The book, the golden light. We've got them and we shall never give them up.
Hey, you want to buy something? You can check the description for my books and audiobooks. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more content.